Hello, it's Kasia here, and today's video is about interviewing the creator and founder of the California Fruit Festival that starts this year. So that's 2022. That's going to be a big year for this incredible event on June the 11th. So let me welcome the amazing Dorit, who took this very conscious, very needed, and very inspiring step to actually create this incredible movement. So thank you very much, Dorit, for joining me in this interview, because I know the festival actually starts in a few days. Today is Tuesday, the festival starts this Saturday. So you must be incredibly busy, and I really appreciate your time. But I feel at the same time that this is important also to share as much as we can. So thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me. And this actually gives me a break away from all the stuff that's going on that needs to be responded to. So thank you for the break as well.
Oh, so that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm really pleased to hear that it's actually something that is only adding to you more energy, I guess. Yeah.
It's a much needed break. It's a much needed
break. Wonderful. Yeah, so let me welcome Dorit. And Dorit, so this video is going to be about really the California Fruit Festival. But before we really go in detail, obviously, there is always, behind any project, there is always a human being. So please, Dorit, could you share just briefly your experience with fruits? Because I know it's quite unique, and I guess as far as I'm familiar, what I hear from other people, not many people actually had this amazing opportunity to experience fruits so early as you did. So, and how that experience, in fact, impacted your life experience. So, could you please share with us briefly?
Thank you. And you said behind every event or as a human being, and behind every human being is the entire universe.
Yes.
And we live in a very magical and generous universe. And for me, the California Fruit Festival is a culmination of all of this, all of the magic of our lives. It's so interesting because we've been so programmed and socially conditioned to actually give credit to one experience and not to the other, to think that one experience is more valid than the other, when in truth, experience, especially illness.
Yes, that's very true.
And so when I was a child, I would only eat fruits.
Wow.
I refused to eat anything else. And apparently it started out immediately. I mean, as soon as I was weaned from breast milk, I just refused to eat anything else but fruits. I don't remember most of this. I do remember very snippets, like boom, bang, memories of it. But or when somebody in my family brings something up, all of a sudden, that sounds familiar. The only thing I remember is when the first time that I felt traumatized because of food, or I should say not because of food, because of society's predilection to tell us what to eat, when to eat, how to eat, and why to eat. when in truth, we all came in instinctively knowing exactly what to eat, how to eat, and when to eat, just like the animals in nature. Think of it. The animals, when they're left in nature, we do not domesticate them. Absolutely. They know exactly when to eat, how to eat, and what to eat. Now, I know that sometimes the animals have to teach their offsprings not to eat some things, like in the elephant kingdom, the baby elephants need to know not to go to palm trees and certain things. They don't eat that, otherwise they could die. So that's what the grown-ups are there to teach us. But instead of teaching us and learning from us, teaching means you have to learn. Teaching, there's two parts to teaching, that you're learning as you teach, because I think we teach what we need to learn.
Absolutely.
Most in life. So it's not perchance that mine was wellness on all levels, whether it was a fitness, but it was all about the biology of the body. So I refused to eat anything else but fruit until I was given an inoculation. I was inoculated, supposedly against childhood illnesses and diseases. Now, remember, Kazia, I did not have any childhood illnesses or diseases. I was never, ever, ever sick.
That's
ever.
incredible. You're probably the only one.
In my classroom and with my playmates, I was the only one, but I didn't notice it. I just thought it was natural. I didn't think it was something you should think about. So I didn't understand when they told me that there are these childhood diseases and I do have to get inoculated and it must happen. But I just said no. And they did it against my will. Remember, I was a wee child. I was very tiny. And I was held down.
Oh no. I cannot believe it.
I got violently sick, to the point where it was not just an anaphylactic shock. It was, I ended up in the hospital. And much to the consternation of the adults around me and the trauma that I received from this, and this is the only two things I remember. I remember getting one of the inoculations at school and being held down. And I remember being forced to take this polio vaccine that was in a spoon, and the spoon looked so big, and it kept getting bigger and bigger. It was coming to my mouth. I was a child.
That must have been horrible.
And I disliked adults intensely after that because I thought they had absolutely no sense whatsoever, and they did not listen. I thought they didn't use their sense of hearing and listen. And anyway, I remember being traumatized when my father left me in the hospital ward. It was a long ward with other females in there, and I was a wee thing. I was a tiny child. And also I was told I was, but I didn't feel that way. I thought I was powerful and huge. I didn't see myself that way. And I remember feeling so abandoned when my father turned around and he could look with tears in my eyes because he saw I was screaming. And I never had tantrums as a child, apparently, until I was being inoculated and until I was left in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
I was screaming bloody murder. I was so loud. I went into a huge tantrum, really meltdown. And that was the first tantrum that they'd ever seen me go in. And he had a really hard time leaving me. And I remember him looking around with tears in his eyes as me screaming, "Why are you doing this? Leaving me here?"
Yes.
Because I didn't know any of these people. And of course, I refused to eat because they wouldn't bring me any fruits. And I kept asking for fruits, and they told me, "No, it's too much sugar."
Oh.
And so eventually, there was this fight going on between me and the medical staff in the hospital. And I would stay up late at nights listening to the moans and the groans of these people. And it was just the most horrifying thing for me. It was really frightening. And they finally found out that I would actually, the only thing I would eat or drink was soup.
Oh.
And fortunately, they did make vegetable soup for me. And that was the first time that I allowed myself to eat anything else other than fruit. So I started eating soups, and then other doctors, or I don't remember who told me, the medical staff, the grown-up, somebody said, from now on, I have to start eating dairy and vegetables. And I did not want any of them. And so I was force-fed after this because they thought that I wouldn't have had such a strong reaction to the inoculations had I had a variety of diet and I had a proper diet.
Yes. Yeah.
That was their synopsis, not that this should never been introduced into her because it's poison to her system.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that I saw the connection between empowerment and food, or disempowerment and food, and how we can be disempowered very easily through the medical models and the medical system. So I experienced it myself on a very deep and strong level. So when I was a teenager, I got violently sick from eating the stuff. Now, I hated cheese. I refused to drink milk because milk, to me, actually, very interesting. I was terrified by milk.
I'm not surprised.
They would give me a glass, and as I was bringing it to my face, I would just have a meltdown. I literally was terrified from it.
Yeah.
I would have a panic attack having this milk come to me. And when I first tasted it, that was it. I mean, went to my tongue, the tip of my tongue, and that was it. I refused to. So they found other ways to put it in, like making it into custards
Oh,
for me. And then we had this thing called shamanet and leben, and they would give, it's like yogurt, and they would give that to me instead. So in my teenage years, I was eating this stuff, but of course, no animals, as far as I knew, only to find out later on that I was eating fish without knowing it, because they would make it into this thing like we used to eat this thing called a pash. I don't remember how to, I don't know what the English word is, but it was, it was a vegetarian, vegan thing, but it was, you could also make it with fish, and they would give it to me that way. And then I love matzo ball soup, but I didn't realize the matzo ball soup had fish in it. I had gefilte fish. So I found as a teenager that I was eating fish, and I had a fit, and I refused to eat it anymore. And I decided not trusting adults anymore, because I cannot trust what they put on the plate. So I remember coming home from school, though, even despite this, and we had a vegetable garden in the back, and being able to go there when it was hot, and I was able to go and pick the cucumbers from there and just put it in the fridge and eat it straight from there. Or we had a huge tomato patch, and they know I loved it when it was chilled when I came home, and they would have it chilled for me when I came home. So there were those things too, and there was jackfruit and all, papayas and pineapples, and all the things that I love. But I just could not at all bring myself to believe that this was food. I just thought this was food to me. An entire bowl of cherry moyas, to me, this is food. And to be able to have papaya and pineapples and coconuts for breakfast. Oh, I lived for breakfast, because that's the only time that I was allowed without any complaints to eat those things. So meal times, we would sit at the table, and that was a big fight.
With your family, yes?
Yeah, the table became my war zone.
Oh, no.
So I learned to do sneaky things. I started to be like them, and I would do a lot of I watched them be sneaky, and I decided to do the same as they would. So I would cut everything up, push it to the side of the plate, and there was a cat that I really loved, and I would invite the cat indoors, and I would throw it under for the cat to eat. Forgetting that the cat might not eat it, and so all of that accumulated underneath the table.
You are sharing, basically. Oh, that's a great solution.
The cat wouldn't eat anything cooked either. The cat didn't want anything cooked. It wanted to be outdoors catching mice and lizards and, things that were raw that it could eat, and it loved to eat, and that it could play with before. And I love to play with my food just like cats before I edit. So that's why I love fruits too, because I'm not just cutting into this cherry moya. I can actually play with it as I'm cutting into it, and see the seeds, and I can see exactly how it grew. I can see the sun, the moon, and the stars when I look at this. When I look at this banana, I see some of the colors of the rainbow. I can see
bananas. Yes, they are amazing. Quite unique, though.
Yes. And it's only unique in certain parts of the world. In other parts of the world, they have many different varieties of bananas.
Yes.
And they think nothing of it. And the finger bananas, and there are over 20,000 fruits for different varieties of fruits.
This is incredible. Yeah, the fruit kingdom is just beyond probably our imagination.
Thus the California Fruit Festival. Because I want our imagination to keep opening and opening and spreading and bring to people the world that I live in as a child, which was a place of magic. The world was a place of magic that was endless, because every time I ate another fruit and a different one and a new one, I was just transported into this heavenly realm of the magical kingdom of life that I was just astounded that I was given a chance to be part of. And I was so grateful to be a part of. And so The last 2 years, we've all been locked down and told all these fearful things, and we have been fed fearful stories. And I wanted a place and to do something where we would have opportunity to rejoice in being children of the earth. Because even when we become an adult, I don't think we ought to leave our childhood behind. The problem with childhood is that we eat instinctively as children, we behave instinctively until it's beaten out of us, shouted out of us, shamed out of us, embarrassed out of us,
Totally.
or sexually molested out of us. And so I wanted to recreate the world of children before all of us and give human beings a chance to wake up and celebrate the incredible magic of our biology, because I believe I think we really should begin to rethink how we see ourselves. We are our biology. Totally. This creates our thought systems, our thought patterns. We cannot elevate our thoughts and our language systems to a level that's higher until we're eating fruit that's of a high vibrational energy to raise our own vibrational energy to match the vibration of the fruit. So when we change our language to a higher vibration, we begin to attract things of a much higher vibration than what we're used to. When we look at a plate of meat, it's brown or black and ugly.
Absolutely.
We look at a plate of fruit and there's all these colors. And I cut into a watermelon this morning and there was all this red river oozing out of it.
Yeah, the vibrant colors, the smells, the aromas, and the energy. The energy is something that we feel immediately, isn't it?
So people are surprised they have very low energy, but they're eating and putting their bodies low energy substances that are excuses for food, because food is only of high vibration. That's the only reason to be eating food, is to constantly renew the higher vibrations of our cells. And especially our brain cells, because we think with our brain, but in truth we think with our gut and with our lymphatic system and our kidneys and our liver and the entire all the cells in our body. We need them to be vibrating, operating at level in harmony with each other on a higher vibration, so that we can live in harmony with ourselves and with other people outside of us. But when our bodies are in disharmony, everything in our body, our cells in our bodies are in disharmony with each other, how can we expect to attract people who will harmonize with us? And how can we expect to live in harmony with the laws of nature?
Yeah, I'm so glad you shared that, because that's so important to even have the awareness. What is that we call food? Food is the nourishment for our body, for, as you mentioned, the entire system. Is not just to feed the stomach, but there is so much more. So thank you for sharing that really important aspect, because I think when we understand like how the human system functions, that will change completely our approach. And we need, as you also mentioned, comparing, for example, meat or any cooked dish to the living food, something that is alive. We need basically a living food, not dead food, because dead food can only...
Dead.
Exactly, it's dead. Yeah, there's nothing probably more to say about this.
And if you want dead cells, then fine, go right ahead and enjoy the cooked foods. So there is really interesting, because we're not just eating high energy, we're eating ourselves. We're eating all the 5 elements. We're made up. That's why I said we need to eat our biology. We're made up of the 5 elements. All of nature is made up of the 5 elements, and all of nature keeps replenishing the 5 elements, except for us. We've denatured, or we've become so denatured, and we've forgotten. So we need to replenish the 5 elements, which are air. There's got to be oxygen in our food. You better be eating something that's green. You better be eating high chlorophyll, high oxygen-laden foods. We need to be eating, and every fruit has, of course, it's been grown on a tree. What do trees do? They take in carbon dioxide, or the plants do, and they give off oxygen. These are the givers of oxygen. Here they are. They're saying, here's my fruit. Have me, take me. You renew yourself with some more oxygen. You know, we cannot. Pardon?
It's complete.
We cannot live without oxygen.
No.
That's how we know we're alive, is when we have oxygen. We know when we're dead because there's no more oxygen flowing through our bodies. We're no longer breathing. So shouldn't we be aiming every day to take in as much oxygen as we possibly can so we can be more alive? You know, when my clients, when they're sick and they come to me, I remember the very first time a client came to me and I said, all you need are 3 things. I said, you need to go take a walk, a long walk, and as fast as possible, drink some water and get some sleep. And make sure the walk is in sunshine. And she thought I was nuts. Actually, she was a medical doctor. She was an OBGYN.
Wow.
And she said, I thought you had a reputation for being really right on and that people really get, spot on help from you. And I said, I just gave you all you need to know. You're part of nature. You need to replenish with the sun. You need to replenish the heat in your body. So the air, when you're walking fast, you get also the sun, which is also the heat, fire. You need the fire. You need to replace the agni, the fire in the belly. You need to replace that every day. Some people call it vitamin D. That's really restricting it very much. You need to, that's too restrictive for me. You need to Yeah, they like to isolate things and say you need vitamin D, but what about the rest of the sun that you need? What about the rest of the fire?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't just take one element out of the fire.
Yeah, I'm really glad you've mentioned that, you've shared that. Brilliant.
So we need air, we need fire. You get outdoors. You don't get it indoors. You don't get it in the movie theater. You don't get it in the sports arena. You don't get it at all when you go to a bar. And yet the depressed people go to bars, which is the last place they should be going. So you also need water. Water is the most powerful source on earth. What gives us water? Structured water, not just water, but the water the body, the cells recognize and need and thrive on. When we eat fruits, we get structured water.
Yes,
Cannot live without that.
That's what in our system, basically.
Yes, and it replenishes everything. This is water. You know, when I breathe out, I'm breathing out water. Everything, when I perspire, I'm breathing out water. When I dance, I'm releasing water. So I need to keep replenishing it. So we need those 3 things very much. We also need ether. Some people call it space. We need spaciousness in our lives. Oh my gosh, this gives us spaciousness because it doesn't clog the cells.
Yes.
It doesn't clog or eliminatory system. It doesn't clog or absorption, which is very important. And it doesn't clog the digestive system. It's the opposite. It keeps things moving and creates spaciousness within the body. And do you realize that the entire digestive system from the mouth to the anus is an enclosed system? It's a closed system. It's the only closed system in the body.
Yeah.
Because it cannot be polluted by anything else. It should not, nothing else should be. That's because it's the most important system. That is where we renew all of the 5 elements. And the 5th element is earth. We come from earth, and to earth we shall return. And so things need to be grown in the soil, because the soil is not just only has the homeostatic organisms, the HSOs, but the soil has everything we need to replenish us, because we come from the soil, and to the soil we shall return, unless we're put in a mausoleum or the pyramid. So
it's just the way it is.
So we need to replenish all 5 elements, and the only thing that gives all 5 of them to us are fruits.
Yes.
So at the California Fruit Festival, there are 3 different aspects of it. There's the outdoors aspect. So people are in the sun. The very thing that I recommend to clients, they all can be outdoors the whole time. There can be dancing and music and a DJ. There's going to be a tasting station. It's all free of charge. There's going to be tons of fruit for sale. We have farmers there. We're going to be having massage therapists to help us with the aches and the pains, and that we've gotten from being so denatured. And that's all free of charge. And then we have the indoors in the building, which at the MOA Wellness Center, and I purposely chose a Japanese wellness center, and I explain why afterwards. In there, we have a lot of healing therapies. The most important of all, that this MOA Wellness Center, which is from Japan, the most important is their energy healing, because of pranic healing, because of the prana. We're also going to be starting out with a Japanese tea ceremony using fruits, because the Japanese tea ceremony is a study in mindfulness. And I want to start by honoring one of my teachers, one of my main teachers. I was very privileged to study with Thich Nhat Hanh. And so he made his transition this year, and I wanted really to honor him and start with what he's taught me the most, and more than anybody else, is the mindfulness of every single moment and how important that is. So I think if we approach raw foods or fruits without mindfulness, we're lost, because we're coming with the same mindset that actually got us into trouble.
Yeah, it's not just about eating. There's a lot more.
It's so much more. So much more. And so that's why I'm starting with that indoors. And then after that, and that will also be on the Zoom event. We're starting with that because that's so important for me. Before the speakers come on, I want to start with that, to put people in that space of mindfulness.
Yeah. So let's maybe talk now more about the festival, what is going to happen. So thank you for sharing your experience. I think that's really amazing. And you've also shared really, how that experience and what was happening universally has led you actually to really start this incredible movement. So that's wonderful, and I really congratulate you for that. I thank you for that, and I really appreciate that, because this is so important, and I know it's not easy. It's not an easy task to do. So not many people are probably ready for that conscious step as you were. So thank you very much for doing that. So let's talk, you've shared just briefly about the event. So let's maybe share what those who would like to attend the event, what they can actually experience, what is going to happen in that event. So you've mentioned the outdoor, and then the indoor, and the online option, and also the option that someone can actually attend. It's in Los Angeles. So let's maybe share also like where it's going to happen. Obviously, we will share all the details below the video, but let's share as well.
So so outside it's all free of charge, but inside there's a price, because we have a lot of going on, a lot of healing techniques. So we start with the Japanese tea ceremony, and then we go into the healing therapies, which is jurei, which is the optimum healing that the Makicho Okado, MOA means Makicho Okado. He is no longer with us in the form that we recognize, and he actually started these wellness centers around the world. So you might actually, wherever you are in the world, you might have a MOA wellness center near you without realizing it. And what they do is they do this form of healing. It's similar to Reiki, this energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have flower therapy. Because as you know, the Japanese have ikebana, and the Japanese really worship nature.
Yes, they do.
And it's amazing how healing the flower therapy is. So we're going to be teaching people to heal with flowers, and how healing that is, and to connect on a deeper level with the earth and the soil through flowers, and therefore with ourselves, because we're all flowers that are constantly blooming. We just don't recognize it because we have been socially conditioned to think otherwise.
Yeah,
and so this is to change the conditioning. And then we're going to be having fruit art classes for children and fruit sculpture classes for adults. And to play with fruits, because fruits are just such magnificent artistic expressions of nature. And I think when we bring our own artistry to the fruit, the things that we create is pretty incredible.
It is. I've seen some small bits, and I thought, wow. That
Pretty
is
amazing.
incredible.
And
Yes.
then we're going to be having also some food demos showing people, so, I'm a mono eater, but I totally appreciate that people starting this need recipes. And I'm also a professional chef, professional living food chef. So we'll be teaching how to use a lot of the fruits that you're like, I don't know what this is or how to use it, but you can eat it by it as itself, or you can make it like this and you can use it to make this and make that and da. We'll be teaching that as well. And that's all day long in the building. Now, for those who live in other parts of the world and cannot come to Los Angeles, of course, we're not forgetting them. So we have, and this is where you come in, we have speakers around the world who are going to, literally around the world, who are going to be offering us an incredible speakers edition of the California Food Festival. So maybe you'd like to talk about your presentation because yours is in the morning.
Yes, so my presentation is probably one of the first ones, I guess. So I'm going to share more in detail about climacteric and non-climacteric fruits, which basically means about the group of fruits that can ripen after being harvested, and the non-climacteric, which basically can't. So once they are picked from a tree, from a plant, they are not going to basically ripen. So obviously in that presentation, I'm going to share why this is so important to actually know, even when either growing the fruits ourselves or when we purchase them. So how we can recognize which fruit actually is ready to be eaten, which is not, and why this is so important to eat fruits that are ripe and ready. So this is obviously, I'm not going to talk about this now, but this is probably the most important aspect because the digestive process, that's the whole really purpose of eating. If we are not able to digest properly, if we are not able to assimilate into the system and then eliminate, quite often people forget about elimination. What is going to happen if with that food if we are not going to eliminate all parts of that process? It's absolutely essential to happen in a proper way. So I'm going to basically share about that, going really into details. I will have some example of fruits. One of them is going to be a watermelon, which is just in season now. In not, I know in not in every part of the world, but quite probably common right now. And it is actually the fruit that I'm literally thriving on now. I cannot have enough of it. And it's so important to actually eat it when it's really ripe and ready. So a watermelon can be a bit more challenging to recognize on the outer part if we buy the whole watermelon. Sometimes they come basically cut because they are also huge, and then it's a lot easier. So that's what are going to happen basically in my presentation. I'm going to share really in detail and how we can really benefit from eating like properly ripened fruits.
Yes, and that's why we're starting with you, because I wanted people to start, because digestion begins outside of the mouth. Because when you look at something, you look at something, the saliva immediately increases it. If it's something, and the smell of it, your saliva immediately increases. If it's something that is actually seductive to you, the smell, the aroma, the look of it. If it's not, then there's really no saliva. And so it starts outside of us, the digestion.
Yeah,
through our
absolutely.
eyes, through all of our five senses, when you touch it, and the beautiful thing about fruit is that you touch them all the time. You can play with it. You can't play with your steak. You can go play with a slaughtered animal.
Exactly. Yeah. So Dorit, could you mention maybe a few names who will be basically the speakers? Because I'm sure some of the names are familiar. And there could be many people who would be basically attracted to come simply because of the names. Yeah.
Yes, so our two keynote speakers are Dr. Robert Morse. And if you have not ever experienced Dr. Robert Morse, please make time for this Saturday. Please, and watch him in action. In fact, most of the speakers only speak in like 15 minutes and then we have Q&A, but with him, I gave him a full half an hour because you'll understand why when you see him speak. And
Wow.
those of you who know of him will understand what I mean.
Yes, absolutely.
And the second keynote speaker is Dr. Doug Graham, who is the creator of the 80-10-10 diet. Many of you know this, and some of you do not know this, and I think you'll be fascinated to hear him.
Absolutely.
And then we have Rosalind Graham, who's going to be speaking about 20 steps to being raw vegan. I think we really need something for people just starting out, or just as an introduction for people to know what needs to be done and how to really become raw vegan, because you don't just eat raw vegan, you become, or you leave, or you forget about it, you go. So, and then we're going to be having panel discussions. There are two panel discussions that I put together because I thought they were so important. And one is fruitarian athletes.
Brilliant.
Because a lot of people go, but if you eat fruits, I'm going to lose my muscle tone. I'm going to I'm going to wither away. The opposite. Wait till you hear these raw vegan athletes who've been athletes for a long time and raw vegan and fruitarian for a long time. Then we have another with some people who've been around for a long time and been eating raw for decades. They're going to be talking about myths and misconceptions of a raw vegan fruitarian diet. And then we have Anne Osborne from Australia, who'll be talking about raising fruitarian children because she's done it. Her sons are now grown.
Amazing. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, so you'll get a lot of help there, and you're going to be hearing things that you never thought were possible, and you're going to have your question answered, and she'll be answering your questions at the end of her presentation as well. And then we have other people who will be speaking. We have, for example, I'm not sure if the producer of the documentary Sweet is going to be able to attend because he's not sure. But if not, you'll be seeing the preview, the trailer for his documentary was just released called Sweet, talking about it's a documentary on fruitarian lifestyle.
Wonderful.
So it all depends on if he can tune in or not on Saturday, depending on the internet connection. But he already sent me the trailer, so we can at least show it, so you'll have an idea of that. And then, of course, we're going to be having the fruit sculpture with David Ware, and we're going to be having the food demos. One of them is with me because I have my own show on Unchained TV, which is the first global vegan TV network in the world. And my show is called the Elegantly Raw Show. So I'll be showing also how to make a jackfruit smoothie.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. Could you maybe mention briefly something about your show, because that happens every Sunday? Yeah, is that correct? Yeah. Could you maybe share something just briefly? So I think that's the perfect moment to actually share that as well.
Thank you. So that show comes on every Sunday, as you said. You can see it on my YouTube channel, but you can also see it on Jane Velez Mitchell's Facebook page and on my Instagram page as well. And we're now going to be starting right after the Fruit Festival. In fact, 3 days after, we're going to be filming 2 pilots on the beach with Jane Velez Mitchell, because she's the person who started Unchained TV. Unchained TV is now you can download the app so you can see it on your phone. You can also see it on Roku, on Apple TV, Samsung TV, on Amazon, and a few other stations I don't remember. So I'm doing the 2 pilots for that on Wednesday on the beach, filming that, and then my show I'll have my own channel on Unchained TV after that. And you can download it on your phone, that app. It's a free app, and then you can see the shows whenever you want to.
So Dorit, I suggest that we will include all the details below, because there will be a lot to really take in and remember. I don't expect anyone to do this, but we will include all the details below, so everything will be available. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So that's amazing. Let's maybe share briefly also about the timing. So the event happens on one day, which is Saturday, the 11th of June, 2022. And what time is it? Is the event available in person and online exactly in the same timing?
Everything's at the same time, so there's no confusion. It starts at 10 a.m. Los Angeles time, because we are going to be streaming even the Zoom from out of Los Angeles. So 10 a.m. Los Angeles time, and it goes until 7 p.m. Los Angeles time, all day long. And you can, and if you're watching on the Zoom and you need to take a break and do something else, or you need to go somewhere else, just come back and forth, in and out, as much as you want. And after that, we're going to be recording each and every one of them, and then they will be available separately. Each segment will be available separately afterwards.
Fantastic. So just to let you know that if you are not able to attend in person, if you are far away from Los Angeles and you can't come, if you are also not able to join online because you've already planned, the day is taken and you basically cannot be present, you are not going to miss, because the replay is going to be available. So that's wonderful. So what happens after the festival?
So there are two things, and I want to just finish up what we're saying. So it's not like the entire thing will be replayed afterwards. It's different segments. So, for example, your segment will be separate. The Fruitarian Children segment will be separate, and people can choose whichever ones that they wish.
Oh, that's great.
So it'd be available as separate MP3 or MP4 formats for people to use it as much as they want, whenever they want, so they can pick and choose. And so that's available as long as we all exist here on Earth, so it will still be available for whoever wants it. And then after the festival, after I recover, thank you.
Oh, yes.
Every 3 months, I'm going to be actually creating a way for people to connect on a deeper level. So this is just an introduction. I think in order to really change the incredible deep programming to which we're all subjected, we need to be deprogrammed. And I would like to use the exact same tactics that are used by mainstream everything. I would like, they seduce us by showing us all these gorgeous, beautiful looking ways of eating the most deadly, poisonous things possible, and of wearing the most, toxic things possible. So I am going to use the same seductive and way. If you look at my show, the Elegantly Raw show, you'll see I only use martini glasses. Never drank a martini in my life, but I don't need it for my juices or anything, or my soups. That's what I'm using. I remember I started looking last year at alcohol commercials. Why are they so seductive? Why do people get so seduced? And then I understood. Have you ever seen a Smirnoff vodka bottle? How gorgeous it is. It's a work of art. I thought, well, I want one. So I put out the word and somebody gave me one, that empty one. I thought, this is going to be for my juices from now on. I'm going to start doing this.
Yeah. I love that.
So the whole
celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate ourselves all the time. And, there's nothing more elegant than nature. So
absolutely, yes. Nature creates everything in such a beautiful, and if we can talk about perfection, that's perfection.
Which is why we don't need to be perfect.
Exactly. We are perfect the way we are.
Thank you. Exactly. So it's really about creating a group. What I want to do is create a different way to deprogram people. And everything is about the laws of nature. So every 3 months, we will have a workshop online that people can attend. And when we're back to some sanity and we can all get together in person, yes. then we will have some of that too. And I would like to have this around the world, to have different satellite groups around the world where we do this. So I'm going to be just inviting a lot of the different fruit festivals to join me in doing this. So we have outreach all the time for people, and people can come to our channels and be sure that they will be nourished and nurtured on a very deep emotional and mental level in order to deprogram ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be asking the people who are on the speakers edition, on the Zoom edition, to continue with us afterwards and really keep nourishing and nurturing a stronger and a much more vibrant community where we know that we have the support that people need. I mean, I hear so many people about to give up or say, I cannot do this anymore, or the pain is too much, or, oh, this detox is too much for me, where you can come and you'll get the support that you need.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So that sounds brilliant. I'm really glad the way the program of the festival is going to be available. I think cutting this and having this available basically on certain topics, I think that's a really wonderful idea. So basically, I think it's going to be easier even to choose to watch than watching the entire event. I think that's very practical and very useful. And I absolutely love what is going to happen after the festival. And exactly as you've mentioned, this is just the starting point. This is just like the warm up, just the inspiration. But actually, what is going to happen afterwards, that is going to really give the real experience, but also the connection with others, because we are experiencing life in oneness here. We cannot just be here as, in this human body. We are nature. And obviously that includes absolutely everything that exists. So other people, animals, fruits, like absolutely everything. So that's wonderful. Before we share details, obviously we are going to include the details, but still I would like you to ask you just at the beginning. So before we go to the final step, sharing the details, the contact details, is anything you would like to just sum up, anything you would like to add about the festival, like anything? Let's just bring this together now.
So all the information can be found on one page if people want, and that's on my website, and that's elegantly Dorit, spelled Doreet, spelled phonetically, /California Fruit Festival. And I'll just share it with you right now. I'll show you where it is.
Please do. Yeah.
And let me just open it up and share this with you. And so here we go. So it's on my Elegantly Dorit website, and you'll see there that you will have all of the information where you can get tickets, where we are on social media. The Green Lifestyles Network is one of our sponsors. You have here all of the different speakers and where you can download them. But if you click on one of these, it will take you to another page where all the speakers are there. This one doesn't show all of them, but if you click on it, that goes there.
Could you maybe bring the two speakers, if I can see them? That's the two doctors, yeah?
Yes.
Do you think that would be helpful just for a moment?
Hold on, let me just get to them here. Here we go.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's the keynote speakers. Yeah, wonderful.
And then when we go back, I'll show you again what else. You have the schedule, because everything is very scheduled. You have the presentations. I've given you the list of all the speakers here. You have, I didn't speak about the master chef, James Sant. If some of you might already know him, if you're taking classes with him online, he has a culinary school, which now is gone online, because when everything shut down in 2020, his school was shut down. So he took it online right away, and that trains raw vegan living foods in teachers and instructors and chefs. And so his name is James Sant, and that will be there too. And so you have the schedule here. You can see the entire schedule, whether it's online or here's the in-person one here, and it tells you where it is and what to do. And then Also, you have also the videos. So we've created quite a few videos. Some of are a lot of fun, and some of there are. That's James, who's in charge of all of our chefs, and that's the one with the school to train teachers and instructors. This is our team member. Here are our team members here, right here at the MOA.
Yes.
Here we are at the MOA Wellness Center. And should I play the video or not?
Yeah, if you feel if it's a short one, absolutely. Please let's
Very
go.
short, just so you hear us and you see us and you get to experience us.
Join us at the California Fruit Festival,
Saturday, June 11th.
At the MOA Wellness Center in Del Rey, Los Angeles, from 10 a.m.
to 7 p.m.
So I'm just stopping it here. You can go on yourself and look at it, but that's what we have available and ready for you.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. Fantastic. Yeah. So is anything else, Dorit?
So I want to thank you for what you're doing, especially with Pranic Living, because it's so important. And this is why I'm continuing with this afterwards, so that people who are introduced to people like you or somebody else, they can still come back and know that they will still have access to you all and find out what you're doing and how to contact you. And every 3 months, we'll have other workshops or other events with you online, so that there will be a follow-up and follow-up and follow-up, and so we all grow together, because in community we grow. And that's why I'm contacting other fruit festivals around the world to do this with me. I already spoke with Musum Wong, who's with Raw Food Asia, and she will definitely be joining with us as well.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you, Dorit. Thank you so much. I feel really privileged to be part of that. And it's really about, I'm glad you've shared that, because now, like, leaving the old system basically behind and the new conscious approach, the life that we want to live from abundance, freedom, and love, that's the natural state. That's who we are. It's not what is available to us. That's who we are. We are love. We are abundance. We are freedom. This is the natural, really, state that we are born to. And we just want to really share this together. So this life experience is about sharing. It's about helping each other, inspiring, connecting on a really true, deep level, growing together, blossoming together. It's not about competing like in the old system. It's about complementing and sharing this amazing human life experience here. That's what we want. We are here to enjoy this short experience, because in fact it's a short walk. Let's focus on the beautiful aspects and let's share them together, and let's live our life through all these beautiful experiences.
I'm glad you said no competition, because these bananas do not compete with these papayas. They never compete. A rose does not compete with a gladiola. They just become themselves, and they in all of their magnificence, and they don't look over to say, now what's that fruit doing over there? No. This is why I want us all to come together, and if anybody out there listening to this or watching this would like to come and collaborate with us, please let us know after the fruit festival, not right now. I don't have you for one more second for one more thing right now, but please. And I'm after I do the filming of the 2 pallets that we're filming at the beach on Wednesday, I'm going to take a week off.
Oh, please do. You need to definitely properly rest after that. Yes. You definitely
Yes.
do that.
And to go running and you know, I and to do what I teach my own clients to do, because we're not here just to live in tandem. And I also think that we cannot teach somebody if we don't do it ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. Yeah, I couldn't add anything more to that. So Dorit, thank you very much. Let's just repeat the contact details, which we are going to include. Everything will be included below the video, but let's just maybe share again briefly just to remind, please. Yeah.
So for the website, you can go to Elegantly Raw, Dorit, Doreet, I'm spelling it phonetically, / California Food Festival, or you can go to any of the TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, California Food Festival pages, and you should also see all the updates there. Facebook as well, of course, is very important on Facebook. So go to the Facebook page for the California Food Festival. Join us there. Let us know if you'd like to collaborate or not after the food festival, whether you can attend or not. And then, as I said, everything on the Zoom edition will be available segment by segment, so you can choose. Well, I'd like to have this segment this month. Next month, I'd like to hear about the fruitarian athletes. Maybe another time I'll find out about the myths, you know. And so you choose whatever you want and you download it, and that's how we're going to be supporting financially the food festival too, because we have to raise funds. So you just donate money for that, and you pick whichever one that you want.
That's amazing. So that's the incredible options available not only at the California Fruit Festival, but also afterwards. I absolutely love that. That's very creative. So if you are not able even to attend, because I know right now it's a very short time, but this is not about just attending the festival. Obviously, if you can, that would be amazing, and please do, because it's going to be absolutely incredible experience connecting with other people, and it's going to be a huge sort of step into another level of consciousness. But also please connect after the festival, because there is going to be so much available and happening.
Yes.
So, dear Dorit, thank you very much again. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate what you do, what you create, and what you offer, and how you contribute, because it's really about contributing and sharing. So a big thank you.
Thank you. And to all the children of the world, please know that I hear you. You're not forgotten, and this is for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much too.
Thank you, Dorit. Bye-bye. And I really look forward to connecting with you on the 11th of June. And obviously afterwards.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much again. Thank you.